Hello everyone, welcome back to Matt's Models and More. It's good to see you. We are actually going on a little bit of a field trip today, getting out of the office, which is my woodworking business, and the hobby shop. So I'm getting out of there to go get some supplies. So I thought it'd probably be a good idea to maybe bring y'all along with me, because some of the stuff or the places I go to are not always your standard hobby stores. Sometimes I get stuff from the Dollar Tree, sometimes I get stuff from Harbor Freight, and even Lowe's and Home Depot. So it just really depends on what I need. Today we're going to go to Harbor Freight. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I use to help with my model making journey, and maybe this will give you some ideas, especially if you have a Harbor Freight near you in your town or city. So let's go check this out, see what we got, and hopefully we'll get some good deals and some good products. So let's check it out. Looking for the best aftermarket parts and accessories for your model? Look no further than MCV Products. Bring your models to life at mcvproducts.com. All right, let's go inside and see what they got. Okay, so the price of these went up a little bit. I think I got mine for $12 on sale. And I got the red. I really like, I'm digging this green. It's that Mopar green. So is that purple. Might be getting another one of those as well, but just be warned, they did go back up in price. So you're talking about $18.99. And I think it's because they've become very popular. Okay, here's something a little different. Tilt stacking bins. Store some 3D parts. Anything else you want, that's something to keep in mind. Welding wire, which you can use that for. It's probably a little bit too thick of a gauge. Mild steel. Yeah, probably not that. Probably wouldn't use that. Oh, and this is only $1.99. Okay, here's something to consider for $3.99. These, these would work in a Dremel tool, especially the Katurk. I'll put a link in the description for the Katurk, but these would work in there. And these are high-speed steel, which you could still use in plastic, just because of the torque and the speed of the Katurk would not tear up plastic too bad. But they have more than just that. That's an assortment pack. They have some right there as well. And then you got a whole line of different sizes right there. All of those, yeah, even those should fit in the Katurk or even the Hardell drill. But that's something to consider as well, especially when you're talking about $1.79, $2.99. That's a good deal. Now here's something I use a lot, and I need to get more. $3.99. It's a 4-pack of microfiber cleaning towels. I'm definitely going to get those. That is definitely worth it. You do have the larger ones there, but those are pretty much towels. Those are really big. These are the perfect size for working with models. Now, my last video I was showing Purple Power, and I had a lot of comments saying that Super Clean was better because they didn't dilute it like Purple Power has over the years. So I'm going to pick some of this up. $8.99. That's not bad. Just like I was showing earlier, they've got the Meguiar's Ultimate Compound, $13.99. And then they have the high-tech yellow wax. That's real popular, $16.99. I think these might be a little bit too strong for our plastics, but they do have a wide arrangement of those. But I am going to try the Super Clean and test that to see if it's stronger than the purple powder. And here's something we all definitely use. They're disposable gloves, and the ones I get are usually the 5 mil, and I have to get extra large, and of course extra large are gone. I do have them in these. Those are mild duty. Those will probably work, so I'll go ahead and grab some of those. But for $11.99, I don't know if you can get gloves cheaper than that. Definitely a good place to get storage bins. Got those. You've got, I was thinking about getting some of those. That's a 30 bin wall mount. And that's bench top. 24 inch. That won't take up a whole lot of room, that's for sure. It's 19 for that one. Got smaller ones for 14. $19.99 for those red and blue ones. I meant to show that price if I didn't earlier. Or you can go all out. Put those in your room. I don't think they'll fit in my hobby room. Great prices on masks. Whether you want disposable or even, where you can, they say welding and, paint and body is probably what you're going to want with the interchangeable filters. That's what I got a 3M. I'm sorry, I didn't get one from here. But I mean, honestly, those are about the same price you can get a 3M one for. Well, not that one. But if there's one place you're going to spend money on and it's worth it, is your mask. You want it to be comfortable and you want it to protect your lungs. So don't cheap out on that, guys. All kind of great storage here. $19.99. That for $12.99. These are excellent for if you want to divide up your parts kits or bashing instead of leaving them in the boxes. You can actually, separate them and maybe label them. And you even got something like that. Well, those definitely come in handy. Here's something a lot of people don't think about, and I need to get me some, so I'm probably gonna go ahead and get them. Scalpels. I tend to use my silicone brush whenever I'm putting out putty, but I tell you what, those flat pieces like that on those, especially the ones with the curved corners, definitely make it easy to spread out your putty and to smooth it out. I think the silicone still might be better though. Let me know in comments if you think. Here you go. $5.99 for, I think you would pay $8 at Hobby Lobby for that. And it's basically the same thing. And it's got some weight to it. But you got 2 helping hands with the magnifying glass. And I probably need to pick up one of those again. They even have this kind with the light built in. And that price is $10 with a light. I might have to get that. Watch repair kit. There might be some tools in there. I mean, most of that stuff we probably already have, but that's just something else to think about. This is important. Blankets for when the wife kicks you out because you spent too much money on the hobby. You're going to need something to stay warm outside. So cheap blankets when you get kicked out. lights. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I can get big time trouble in Harbor Freight and Hobby Lobby, of course. Let's take a look at some other stuff here. Here's some people don't think about stuff like this. $2.99 rubber bands, and you can actually, you know, of course, wrap up parts that you have glued to keep them as a clamp. Sometimes it's a little bit easier. I even use this in my woodworking. I have tons of rubber bands in my woodworking shop for that very reason, but it works in the model making community as well. These right here come in really handy. You can get a whole pack. It's 22 of them. Basically miniature clamps. You can go even smaller. I've got probably 5 or 6 of these at the house, but 89 cents each for those, $6.49 for a 22-piece set. You can also break it down and get them in a 6-piece set for $1.99. I mean, you can't beat that right there. That's good stuff. This is a little more on the expensive side, but this is what I use for my exhaust. I'll give credit to Irvin Arter. He is kind of a master at doing exhaust. I love the way he does his exhaust. And he taught me that trick about using the solder wire, usually like a 3mm. Now, 3mm solder wire is not cheap, but definitely looks real. I just noticed this. These may be cheaper to do this than to actually buy the rod from Hobby Lobby. Only reason why is 3 30-seconds, and how long it is. Trying to see how much of it you get. 1 pound, 36 inches. That'll focus. And that's a lot in there. That might be worth looking into. I use these in the shop to hold my shop towels, but I have a metal backdrop to my desk, and I think I'm going to buy another one, to put on the actual wall of the hobby desk, so I have my towels right there where I actually do my paint mixing and airbrush cleaning. That'll make it easier than where I've got it right now. But they have all kind of magnetic stuff. I've used one of those on the side of my booth, my paste booth, since it's steel. I actually have it magnetized to it. And that's something to think about as well. I've got one of these, but I did want to show you for $9.99. You can get a digital caliper, and it's very accurate. And that comes in handy if you're doing any kind of scratch building, frame building, anything like that. Or if you're trying to lay graphics from one side to the other, you can use that to measure and make sure that you're putting everything in its proper place on both sides. So that's a little cheap trick. I actually have a little more of the expensive ones, which are these. These were $22.99. I have one in the workshop and one in the hobby shop, and I use that on my CNC just to show you how accurate those things are. I'm using those all the time. This end cap here has a whole bunch of good stuff that you can use. You got your blue tape that you can use for holding stuff together. All kind of super glue, $1.99. They even have 2-part epoxy. They got quick setting, slow setting, super weld, bonding super tape. Look at this, guys. $7.99. Here's an idea for you. And I can thank Steve Birch. He's a member of our CAMS group. He set me up or hooked me up with something similar but they're more square. But this would be a perfect, let me see if I can stand back a little bit, perfect parts bin when you're working on a car. When you take everything apart, you can have stuff separated, put in individual places right there beside your project to kind of keep everything organized. You can't beat $7.99 for one of those, and that's thick plastic. That's real thick plastic. On the end cap with the cable ties, you've got all kind of wiring here. Mechanics wire, 25-foot roll for $1.49. I mean, brake lines, other lines, you even have stainless steel lock wire. It's a little bit thicker. And of course, if you're going to be using that wire, $8.99 for Quinn wire cutters with the rubber grip. That's a hell of a deal too. That looks like about the best pair, because if you go with the Doyle, you're talking about almost double the price. It's crazy. Long nose pliers is almost a must as well, especially if you're making hinges or springs for like carburetors, or springs for shocks. You can use them to kind of wrap around, and they are a whopping $2.99 per pair. That's a good deal. Very good deal. You can even get some wire snips there as well, but that's definitely for a thinner gauge. $5.99 for 175 count. Let's back up here. Some of those might be too big for the airbrush, but you can use them for other things. For 175 of them for $6, I think that might be worth it. For all you airbrush fans, this might be something to try. Now, I did and was unsuccessful with my Black Widow spray gun that I had, because one of the O-rings went bad on there. So I bought this one and this one, hoping that I had something in there that would work, but unfortunately none of these worked for the Black Widow. But some of these, if your airbrush does not come with expendable washers or O-rings, that might be something to think about. And I was grabbing those wrong boxes, so I just wanted to clarify the O-ring assortments were these two that I purchased. I think the ones I was showing you were the washer. Yeah, that's not what I used. I'm sorry. And it wasn't that either. So price is wrong. That's wrong. This is what I got. So they were a little more. So for the 180 piece, $10. For the 225 piece, $5.50, might as well say. But again, none of those fixed the Black Widow. Here's much bigger packs of those O-ring assortments. I should have got these, and I'm thinking about trying this one to see if one of those may fit the Black Widow airbrush, because they get pretty small in there. So I may try that for $10. Won't hurt me to have one anyway. They do have an assortment of primers, and I don't like the black. I have tried the black. For some reason, it tends to flake off, but this regular gray Rust-Oleum filler primer works good if you've done a lot of modifications, but you know, just don't lay it on thick. But that does work. I've also bought some spot putty from here before. It doesn't look like they have it now. They do have Bondo. Silicone. Yeah, I don't see any of the spot putty, but I have gotten it from here before. Shop Pals $3.49 per roll. Honestly, guys, I think if you have a Sam's membership, which I do, I think you can get it cheaper for like a pack of 12. But in a crunch, $3.50 for some Blue Shop towels isn't bad. Lint free. Okay, so there's the Black Widow that I have, trigger style. Now I paid $80 for it. I think it was on sale for $79. Said I had a 3-year warranty, but they did not cover. Great gun until the O-ring went out in it, and I cannot find the parts for it. And what I can't understand is why this one is the same price as that one for a trigger style. You can go down $79. You can also get the compressor. It's the premium airbrush compressor kit. And I did get one of these too. One of these airbrush holders. It's okay. It's not the greatest, but for $9, it definitely comes in handy. Unfortunately, one of the main things I came here for were the thin brushes for $2.99. I usually buy a couple packs of them. I'll actually probably do a little clip in here of the brushes I was talking about, because I'll cut the ends of them off and use them as a tough bristle brush in order to scrape away when I'm doing, you know, any kind of weathering, to scrape away the glue, either the white glue effect, or if you're using liquid mask. But they're completely out, doggone it. That was one of the main things I was coming here for, is I am completely out. All right, here's another idea that I've used before: shrink wrap, the Marine Heat Shield shrinking, $6.99 for a full pack of them. And what I use them for is I tend to use the smaller ones, and I cut them because I'll wrap them around some fake wires just to make a wiring harness. You can even get them in different colors, but then I'll just heat shrink it around. Make sure to leave a little bit of those wires showing on both sides, just so it you can see and tell that it was wrapped and that it is a wiring harness in the engine bay area, which definitely helps the detail. I was using one of these for a while, and they're about to go up again. That's the long magnets, and you can actually attach it to the wall. I do use these for my chisels in my workshop, but I was using them in the hobby shop to attach the, you know, stuff like pliers, your wire cutters, and scissors, just about anything that's got the metal blade to it. That's a good way to store it. And for $4.99, you can't beat that. Just screw it onto the wall and add your tools. Hey guys, you think this will help? You know what I'm talking about, right? All those pieces that get dropped and lost into the carpet monster. I doubt it'll pick up the tiny little things we need, but maybe, oh, maybe that one will do it. Something else not everybody thinks about, but you see how our benches get filled with sanding dust and little bits of plastic. Here you go. Buy you one of these for $6.99. And that's going to last a while. Blow all that stuff away. Keep it off your bench to keep your build clean. So, to wrap it all up, you just got to really think outside of the box whenever you're going to places like this. You don't only have to go to hobby stores. Stuff like this, you can find all kind of inspiration. If you just, you know, get creative. You'll find some cool stuff that you can come up with. So I encourage you, the next time you go into a store, no matter where it's at, Even if you're in a jewelry store, I've found stuff in jewelry stores before, like Claire's, you know, the cheap stuff, and found stuff that would work in our hobby. So definitely be open-minded when you think about that kind of stuff. So until the next time, I appreciate y'all watching. Keep on rolling.